Your mattress was deliberately designed to wear out faster than the one your grandparents slept on. That is not a theory. That is a documented, industry-wide decision that was made by the major mattress manufacturers in the early 2000s, all at roughly the same time, and the average consumer had absolutely no idea it happened. And that's just the opening, because the mattress industry has more layers of manipulation packed into it than almost any other consumer product category on Earth, and we are going to peel every single one of them back today. And here's the part that is going to genuinely mess with you the next time you walk into a mattress store. The mattress on display, the one you lie down on, test out, decide feels great, might have a completely different name at the store across the street. Same mattress, different name, different price. The industry has a system, fully intentional, completely legal, that is specifically designed to make it nearly impossible for you to comparison shop. And once you know how it works, you will never look at a mattress tag the same way again. By the end of this video, you are going to know the full history of how two private equity-owned companies came to control the majority of mattress brands in America. You'll understand the NASA invention that became the most successful mattress marketing campaign in history. You'll know exactly how the pricing manipulation works and how to defeat it in about 30 seconds with your phone. And I'll walk you through the 5 things every smart mattress shopper does before spending a single dollar. This is the mattress industry, and it is way more interesting and way more sinister than you have ever been given credit for. Let's go. Before we get into the monopoly story, we need to talk about the S brands, because this is something that mattress industry insiders actually call them, the S brands. And when you hear it, you'll understand why immediately. Sealy, Serta, Simmons, Stearns & Foster. 4 of the 5 biggest mattress brands in America all start with the letter S. And the thing is, they all came from completely different places, completely different eras, and completely different founding stories. And somehow, over the course of about a century, they all ended up inside 2 corporate portfolios. We'll get to that. But first, the origin stories, because they're actually fascinating. Starting with the oldest one, which goes all the way back to 1870, in a place that had absolutely nothing to do with sleep. 1870. Kenosha, Wisconsin. A man named Zalman Simmons starts a small manufacturing company making wooden cheese boxes and telegraph insulators, which, I'll be honest, is not what you'd expect from the founder of one of America's most iconic mattress brands. But in 1876, Zalman visits a Chicago hotel and sleeps on a wire-woven mattress, and something clicks. He thinks he can make it better. He starts manufacturing his own mattresses, and within a decade, Simmons is one of the leading bedding manufacturers in the country. But the real revolution comes in 1925. That's when Simmons engineers introduced the Beautyrest, the world's first individually wrapped coil innerspring mattress. Before this, mattresses were basically cotton batting or basic wire springs. One spring moves, they all move. The Beautyrest used individually pocketed coils that moved independently. It was genuinely a massive leap forward in sleep comfort, and the Beautyrest name, 100 years later, is still one of the most recognized mattress names in the world, which is pretty remarkable for something that started with cheese boxes in Wisconsin. Sealy, Texas, 1881. A cotton gin manufacturer named Daniel Haynes starts making cotton-filled mattresses as a side business for the local community. He gets pretty good at it, licenses his manufacturing method to other producers, and before long, the Sealy name becomes synonymous with quality mattresses across the South. The brand spreads, the name sticks, and by the 20th century, Sealy is a national brand. Now here's the part that connects directly to the monopoly story. Sealy's business structure for most of its history was actually a licensing model. Independent manufacturers in different regions would pay to use the Sealy name and manufacturing standards, which means Sealy wasn't really one company for a long time. It was more like a brand franchise. This structure made it incredibly valuable for acquisition later on, because whoever bought the Sealy name essentially bought the licensing rights to an entire distributed manufacturing network. Private equity investors would eventually figure this out, but that's a few decades away. Okay, this is the one that genuinely surprises people every time. Memory foam, the material inside Tempur mattresses, inside hundreds of pillow top layers across dozens of brands, was not invented by a mattress company. It was invented by NASA. Specifically, in the early 1960s, NASA commissioned the development of a new foam material for aircraft and spacecraft seating. The goal was to absorb and redistribute the massive G-forces that pilots and astronauts experience during takeoff, landing, and high-speed maneuvers to protect their bodies and prevent injury. The result was a viscoelastic polyurethane foam, a material that responds to both pressure and temperature. Press on it, it slowly conforms to your shape. Release the pressure, it slowly recovers. NASA called it slow springback foam. They developed it, used it, and then made the technology available for other uses through their technology transfer program. For a while, it found applications in medical equipment, wheelchair cushions, hospital mattresses for pressure sore prevention. And then in the early 1990s, a Swedish company called Fagerdala World Foams licensed the technology, refined it for consumer use, and brought it to the American market under the brand name Tempur. And the marketing was brilliant. The mattress NASA helped invent is a hard thing to argue with. Serta has a genuinely unusual founding story. In 1931, right in the middle of the Great Depression, 30 independent mattress manufacturers from across the country got together and said, instead of competing against each other, what if we pool our resources, standardize our product, and compete together against the bigger brands? They formed a cooperative, called it Serta, from the Latin serta, meaning wreathed or joined, and started manufacturing under one unified brand name. It's a remarkably democratic founding for what would eventually become part of a private equity empire. The cooperative model meant that Serta quality was fairly consistent across regions because every manufacturer was working from the same standards. By the post-war consumer boom of the 1950s and 1960s, Serta was one of the top 3 mattress brands in America. Their marketing, and this is delightful, centered for decades on counting sheep. The Serta counting sheep mascot became one of the most recognized advertising characters in American consumer history. Which is kind of perfect. Mattress company, counting sheep. Someone got paid real money to come up with that. So by the 1980s, you have all these great American mattress brands: Sealy, Serta, Simmons, Stearns & Foster, Spring Air, Restonic, each with their own history, their own loyal customers, their own regional strengths, real competition, real variety. And then private equity discovered the mattress industry. And look, private equity gets a bad reputation, sometimes for good reasons and sometimes for unfair reasons. But in the mattress industry, the timeline of what happened after private equity started acquiring these brands is pretty hard to paint in a flattering light. Beginning in the 1980s and accelerating through the 1990s and 2000s, leveraged buyout firms start acquiring these brands one by one, loading them with debt, squeezing operating costs, looking for synergies, and slowly but surely the independent American mattress brand landscape begins collapsing into 2 enormous corporate silos. And what gets quietly squeezed along the way? Quality, durability, and the two-sided mattress. But we'll get to that. Hey, pause for a quick second. Drop a comment below and tell me, how much did you pay for your last mattress? And roughly how long ago did you buy it? Because here's what I'm betting. A huge percentage of you spent over $1,000, and a lot of you have already replaced it at least once. And if you're sleeping on a mattress that's already starting to sag a little earlier than you expected, that's not bad luck. That might be engineering. We'll explain exactly why in about 4 minutes. Drop the number, I'm reading every comment. Let's go. Let's just lay out the map. Today, the mattress industry is dominated by 2 enormous companies. Company 1, Tempur Sealy International. This formed in 2013 when Tempur-Pedic, the NASA foam people, acquired Sealy Corporation for approximately $1.3 billion. Tempur-Sealy now owns Tempur-Pedic, Sealy, Stearns & Foster, and Cocoon by Sealy. Their combined revenue exceeds $5 billion annually. Company 2, Serta Simmons Bedding. This is a private equity vehicle that owns both Serta and Simmons Beautyrest under one corporate roof. Their combined revenue is roughly $3 billion annually. Together, these two companies account for the majority of mattresses sold in the United States. And then there's a third tier, a cluster of smaller but still significant brands like Purple, Sleep Number, and Saatva that operate more independently. But the big box, the stuff that fills the floors of Mattress Firm and the major retailers, that's almost entirely Tempur-Sealy or Serta Simmons. Okay, here is the single most manipulative tactic in the entire mattress industry. And I want you to really pay attention because this one is going to save you money the very next time you shop for a mattress. The major manufacturers, Sealy, Serta, Simmons, deliberately give the exact same mattress model different names at different retail stores. Not slightly different, completely different names. So the mattress called the Sealy Posturepedic Crown Jewel III at one store might be called the Sealy Posturepedic Premier Hybrid at another store. And they are physically the same mattress, but because the names are different, you cannot Google the exact model and find a lower price somewhere else. Comparison shopping, which the internet was supposed to make trivially easy for consumers, is almost impossible in the mattress industry because of this specific tactic. The Federal Trade Commission is aware of it. Consumer advocacy groups have been complaining about it for years. It is entirely legal, and it means that the person who walks into a mattress store without knowing this almost always pays more than they need to. And now, the designed obsolescence story, which I promised you at the top. For most of the 20th century, quality mattresses were built with two usable sleep surfaces. You bought a mattress, you slept on it for 6 months, you flipped it over, you slept on the other side for 6 months. The coil springs and foam materials wore evenly. A good mattress from the 1950s or 60s could legitimately last 25 to 30 years with proper rotation. Then, somewhere around 2000 to 2003, the major mattress manufacturers, Sealy, Serta, Simmons, all shifted almost simultaneously to one-sided mattresses. Mattresses with a usable sleep surface on only one side. You can't flip them anymore. And what happens to a one-sided mattress that you can't flip? The springs and foam on the sleep side wear out in roughly half the time. The industry average mattress replacement cycle dropped from every 15 to 20 years to every 7 to 10 years. The manufacturers said the change was about incorporating better comfort materials on the top that couldn't function if flipped, which is partly true. But the timing, all major brands making this change at roughly the same moment, is something consumer advocates have noted with some pointed observations. Okay, we have to talk about Mattress Firm, because this is the thing that turned the mattress industry into an internet meme. If you've ever driven through an American suburb and noticed that there seemed to be an unreasonable number of mattress stores, sometimes literally across the street from each other, sometimes two in the same strip mall, you are not imagining it. At Mattress Firm's peak, the chain had over 3,500 locations in the United States. 3,500 mattress stores! For context, that's more American locations than Target. And they had a well-documented habit of opening stores extremely close to each other, sometimes within a few hundred feet. This triggered a wave of internet speculation, including some fairly elaborate theories that mattress stores were fronts for money laundering, because surely no legitimate retail business could justify that many locations selling a product people buy once a decade. To be clear, the money laundering thing was never proven and was pretty convincingly debunked. The real explanation is almost more interesting, but it requires understanding how mattress retail economics actually work. So why were there so many mattress stores? Here's the real answer. Mattresses have enormous profit margins. We'll get to the exact numbers in a minute. which means a single sale can justify a lot of overhead. Mattress retail also benefits enormously from physical presence and impulse location. Unlike a TV or a phone, you genuinely need to lie down on a mattress before you buy it. So foot traffic location matters more than in almost any other retail category. And here's the really interesting part. Mattress firms' strategy was to use real estate saturation to block competitors from getting into desirable retail locations. If you own all the good corner spots in a suburb, your competitor can't get in. It was a land grab strategy, financed by those enormous per-unit margins. The problem was that Steinhoff International, a South African retail conglomerate, acquired Mattress Firm in 2016 for $3.8 billion, then got hit by a massive accounting fraud scandal. Mattress Firm, saddled with debt and too many locations, filed for bankruptcy in 2018. They closed hundreds of stores, restructured, and emerged leaner. But at their peak, yeah, there really were that many mattress stores. Okay, let's talk money, because this is the part that is going to make you feel very specific feelings about the mattress sitting in your bedroom right now. A standard queen-size innerspring mattress that retails for $1,500 to $2,000 costs a mattress manufacturer approximately $150 to $300 to produce. That includes the materials, the labor, and the packaging. A memory foam mattress in the same price range? Similar manufacturing cost, maybe a little more for higher density foam, but we're still talking roughly a 10-to-1 markup as the baseline. And then there's the luxury tier. A Tempur Luxe Breeze King mattress retails for around $5,000. The materials and manufacturing cost? Estimates from industry insiders put it at $400 to $700. The markup on a top-tier Tempur is somewhere in the neighborhood of 800 to 1,200%. Now, is some of that justified? The retail overhead, the marketing, the warranty, the delivery? Sure, some of it. But 800 to 1,200% covers a lot of delivery vans. Now, is there any escape from this? Yes, and it started with a very simple observation made by a startup called Casper in 2014. The observation was this: mattresses are complicated to buy, expensive to ship, and require a physical store because people think they need to try them. What if you removed all three of those barriers? Casper compressed a foam mattress into a cylindrical box that could be shipped via UPS, like to your door by a regular delivery truck, and offered a 100-night free trial. If you don't love it after 100 nights of actually sleeping on it, they'd come take it back. No questions. Full refund. Suddenly, the "I need to try it in the store" objection evaporated, because 100 nights in your own home is infinitely better than lying on a showroom mattress for 4 minutes while a salesperson hovers nearby. Casper's launch was a sensation. They did $100 million in revenue in their first 2 years, and the bed-in-a-box category exploded. Purple, Lisa, Tuft & Needle, Sattva, all launching with direct-to-consumer models that cut out the retail overhead and, in theory, passed some of those savings along to the buyer. Alright, practical section. 5 things every smart mattress shopper does. 1. Know the model name trick. When a salesperson shows you a mattress, write down the exact full model name. Then Google it. If you can find the same name at another retailer for less, you've just found your negotiating tool. If you can't find it anywhere else, that's the store-exclusive naming tactic at work. Ask the salesperson what the equivalent model is called at other retailers. They will know. They might not want to tell you, but they'll know. 2. Everything in a mattress store is negotiable. The price on the tag is not the real price. Industry insiders say 30 to 50% off the sticker price is a completely normal negotiation outcome, especially at end of quarter or on major holidays. Ask. The worst they can say is no. 3. Consider the bed-in-a-box brands for the value tier. Tuft & Needle in particular has earned consistently strong independent reviews for quality at a genuinely fair price point. 4. For a premium mattress, Tempur is legitimately excellent. The product quality is real, but shop it online and compare every authorized retailer's price. They vary. And 5, whatever you buy, check if it comes with a sleep trial period. 100 nights minimum is the industry standard now for direct-to-consumer brands. If a brand won't offer a trial period, that tells you something. Here's the part I want to sit with for a second, because I think it's the most important broader lesson of the whole story. When private equity firms acquire beloved consumer brands, whether that's Simmons, Beautyrest, or Sealy, or Serta, they're not necessarily trying to make a worse product, but they are structurally required to maximize returns for their investors within a specific time horizon, usually 5 to 7 years. And in that window, the pressure to cut costs, reduce material quality, optimize margins, and find short-term efficiencies is enormous. The two-sided mattress switch? That happened during a period of intense private equity ownership cycles across the industry. The naming system that prevents comparison shopping? Developed and refined under corporate ownership structures optimized for margin protection. None of this is illegal. None of it is a secret conspiracy. It is the entirely predictable output of applying financial engineering to an industry that used to be run by manufacturers who cared, maybe above everything else, about the quality of the thing they made. The cheesebox guy from Wisconsin who invented the Beautyrest innerspring in 1925 would probably have some thoughts about where his company ended up. And here's what I want you to notice, because if you've been watching this series since the paint episode, you are now seeing the same pattern play out for the third time in a row. Paint, glasses, mattresses. 3 completely different product categories, 3 completely different histories, and yet the story is almost identical every time. An innovative product gets created, real competition develops, customers develop brand loyalty, and then, over decades, private equity or a dominant corporate consolidator moves through the category like a wave, acquires the brands, keeps the names, normalizes the formulations or materials downward, creates pricing systems that make comparison nearly impossible, and maintains a careful illusion of consumer choice while the economics of that choice all point back to the same place. This is not unique to these 3 industries. This is the dominant story of American consumer goods in the late 20th and early 21st century. And the more of these videos you watch, the more clearly you see it. Final summary, fast. 1. The U.S. mattress market is dominated by 2 corporate entities, Tempur Sealy and Serta Simmons, controlling the major brands you encounter in virtually every retail environment. 2. Manufacturers deliberately use different model names at different retail stores to prevent price comparison. Write the model name down. Google it. 3. The shift from two-sided to one-sided mattresses around 2000 to 2003 cut average mattress lifespans significantly. 4. The markup on mattresses is roughly 900% on average. Everything in the store is negotiable. Ask for 30 to 50% off. 5. Bed-in-a-box brands, Casper, Purple, Tuft & Needle, Lisa, offer legitimate alternatives with direct-to-consumer pricing and 100-night trial periods. 6. Always insist on a trial period. 7. Share this video with anyone you know who is currently mattress shopping. You will save them real money. That's the whole point. Okay, one last thing, because if you've made it this far, paint, glasses, mattresses, you are starting to see how this works. And I want to tell you what's coming next, because episode 4 is going to be the one that people share the most. We're going into the beer industry. And I know, you've probably heard something about this one before. Oh, 2 companies own all the beer brands. Sure, you've seen the meme. But I promise you, the full story is so much more specific, so much more fascinating, and so much more recent than whatever version of it you've heard before. We're talking about a Belgian company that didn't exist 30 years ago, literally did not exist, that now sells approximately 1 in 4 beers consumed anywhere on Earth. 1 in 4. We're going to trace the entire acquisition history, explain exactly how they keep premium craft beer brands feeling independent after buying them, and yeah, we're going to name every brand in the portfolio so you know exactly what you're drinking. That video is next. subscribe, hit the bell. Don't miss it.